In this demonstration, we will create a resource group, then lock the resource group so that no one can delete it. We will also try to delete it and see what kind of error message we get. Then we'll remove the lock and then delete the resource group. All of these activities can be done with the UI as well. But we will do all these activities with PowerShell because for the exam purposes, like I said in one of the earlier videos, knowledge of PowerShell is very important. I've logged into the Azure portal now, but as we discussed earlier, we will run all the commands using Azure PowerShell. So here's the PowerShell. The first command that we always run is to log into your Azure subscription. Say login -az account and hit enter. And this should give you a pop-up on the browser where you then type in your credentials. Okay. And type the password. It tells me that that's my account and I'm using pay-as-you-go, tenant ID, and using an Azure cloud environment. Good. So let's get started with creating our resource group first. The command will be new -az resource group, and I will use tab completion and use -name. The name of my resource group would be, let's say, prod_IT. And then the location in which I want to provision, it is in East US. And hit enter. Right. Now that the resource group is created, let's go ahead and lock it with PowerShell. But before that, I'll just go to the UI and see if the resource group is actually created. There you go. My prod_IT resource group is there. And then under locks, there are no locks. So once we have created the lock using PowerShell, we should be able to see one row here. We can do it through GUI as well, but let's learn how you can do it with PowerShell. We'll go back to the PowerShell window and run the command new -az resource group lock. That will be new -resource lock. Use tab completion, and the name of the lock would be, let's say, do not delete. Yeah. And then what kind of lock is it? Is it something you want to prohibit against read-write operations or delete? Well, these are the two options available for us. So the lock level is cannot delete. That is a lock level. Now you need to specify the lock on a particular resource, and in this case I want to specify it on a resource group, which is prod_IT. Hit enter. Are you sure you want to create the following lock on prod_IT? Just say yes, hit enter, and looks like the lock is created. I'll go back to the UI here and refresh this. There you go. The do not delete lock is created on the resource group called prod_IT. Now nobody should be able to delete it, right? So let's try to delete this resource group using PowerShell. Well, of course, like I said, we can go and delete from here, but we are learning PowerShell here. So I'll go back to the PowerShell and run the command to delete the resource group. The command to delete the resource group is remove -az resource group, and then the resource group name, which is prod_IT. Hit enter and see what we get. There you go. We got a message which clearly says that I cannot perform this delete operation because the scopes are logged, right? Please remove the lock and try again. Okay, so now we need to delete the lock. So let's try to remove the lock using PowerShell, using the command remove -az resource lock, and then I would use the lock ID syntax to remove it. But before we delete it, we must know what the lock ID is. So I'll use get-az resource lock to get the list of locks I have, and the one that I'm interested is in do not delete, and here is the lock ID. All right, so just copy that and then say remove -az resource lock with the lock ID of this part, right, which we just copied. So I'll paste it, make sure that it is right, /locks. Okay, did not copy it properly. It should have copied till this section as well. So when we copied, we just copied the first line but did not follow the subsequent suffix. So I'll just run it and see what happens. It says delete is not supported. All right, no problem. So we'll go back and add this part, the ending part here. All right, now see what happens there. There you go, we got a true message. That means that the resource group is deleted. Now if I do get-az resource lock, you will see that there are no resource locks in our subscription. And this should be the same if you go to your Azure portal and verify this fact. There will not be any locks to the resource group. So here I am in the resource group called prod_IT under the lock section. I'll just refresh this so that this goes away. Let's see. There you go. So the lock has been indeed deleted. So in this demonstration, we created a resource group, logged it with PowerShell, and then tried to delete it with remove-az resource lock command. Everything that you do in GUI can be done in PowerShell. So it's always recommended that if there is any repetitive activities that you want to do, you will have to design a script, keep it in your repository, and then run it as and when you need it. But any one-time activities, one-off activities, it's always recommended to do it using portal because it's faster that way.